welcome to our second Breakfast of Champions. I must offer you all a croissant. Anyone for a croissant? No, just it.
Thank you very much.
Masami needs the food, and we also have some lovely nectarpresso. Anyway, we have 4 world champions with us, 3 of them from the class right here in Portugal. We have the 2003 world champion, Hessel Roskam, the 2005 champion, Ian Oddie, and the 2013 champion, Markus Feldman. And then next to me, we have the 1987 four-wheel drive off-road world champion, the 1988 1/12th electric world champion, 1989 two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive electric world champion, the 1991 two-wheel world champion, the 1993 four-wheel world champion, 1996 Pro 10 world champion, 1996 12th world champion, 1997 four-wheel drive off-road world champion, the 1998 9 two-wheel drive world champion, 2000 Pro 10 and 12th world champion, the 2002 12th world champion, and the 2004 1/12th electric world champion, the legend Masami Hirosaka. Masami, how do you do? We asked a lot of questions. I got my first question is Masami. Masami, there is a very famous picture of you in front of all your cars and all your trophies. How long did it take to set that picture up? How long and how to just get all those cars and trophies together?
You mean for take picture?
Yeah.
How many days?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 day, take off from box, and second day, display, and third day, take photo. Fourth day, in the box. 4 days.
That's dedication indeed. As you probably the breakfast show, what we really want to know is to get to know. And I'm wondering, and I think my feeling is that when Ian became world champion in 2005, how old were you? I think you might be the oldest first-time world champion.
Without working it out, you've put me on the spot now, really. 2005, so that's 14 years ago. I'm 53 now. There's no secret there. So yeah, he probably was the oldest world champion. Yeah.
Hessel, you won in 2003. It's an interesting question, really. The 2003 world champion, second running of this event. Did it change your life at all in any way?
Yeah, I think so, because it made some things possible in the sport, sponsorships and so yeah, for sure.
And Markus won in 2013. Markus, I don't know why, but when I looked at the results, I thought you won like loads of times before. Was it, finally I've won in 2013?
Yes, surely. It's basically the same history for me with the European Championships. I finished 5 times second. Always a little bad luck at the end and finished second, so it happened the same in the Worlds. I always finished second or third, and it worked out in the qualifying but never in the finals.
Masami, you won your first world championship in 1987. We've just found out you beat Ian in that very event. What was it like to be world champion for the first time?
My feel, very surprised.
Yeah. Because you actually turned up, and I think Schumacher gave you the car at the event, didn't they?
Yes, just before day of race.
And then you went on to win 13 more. Do you have a favourite, your favourite world championship, the one you feel the most special about?
Two-wheel drive world.
Yeah.
In United States.
And why is that?
Because most difficult to win. 2 times.
Twice. Now the interesting thing is that you guys all have different careers. I mean, I think it's well known you are the racing dentist, Markus. Was there ever an opportunity for you to go, sort of fully professional in RC, or did you always want to carry on the medical profession?
Yes, I never wanted to be 100% professional in the RC, because I see already 20 years ago that there is ups and downs, and therefore I like living, and I think it's more safe to stay out of the RC business to have a regular income. It's nice, it's also fascinating, but I think there's also one point in your life you want to get settled, and this is not possible with RC, traveling around the world.
Now, I have a question for you. Yes. Have you ever used any of your dentist drills to do some work on your RC car?
Of course. Of course, but more or less my dad did always.
So there we are. So it's small stuff. Hessel, you've kind of formed your own manufacturing company, haven't you? Was that as a result of your success, or just because that's what you like doing anyway?
I don't know if it was a result of the success, but I started drawing parts, and guys came to me because I had a machine and I made some prototype parts, and that just went, crazy. So that's why I bought a machine first in my house in the garage, And then it also was so much work, so I stopped my career in the printing company, and then I started 5 years ago.
And so all the stuff you make is for RC cars, or do you make stuff? Oh no, what else do you make for?
Yeah, I think 30% is RC now. In the beginning it was 100%, and the rest is medical industry, for machines, everything.
So did you come up with these ideas? Would someone come to you and say, "Oh, we'd like you to design this new widget for a I don't know, an X-ray machine or something"?
No, actually, it's only people come to me with drawings, and then I make the parts for them, also the prototype parts. But no, I never came up with something, that would be nice though.
I think Ian, you're probably best known now for your engineering, for the Reliant Kitten and the crazy 6R4. I mean, I think tell us why you wanted to make a replica 6R4 and how difficult it's turned out to be, a Metro rally car replica.
It's a lot more difficult than most people realise. The reason for making it is because a lot of my business is RC related, and obviously I'm F1 chairman and I go to a lot of races and things. Sometimes it gets too much. It's no longer a hobby and fun, so you need a break for something else. So I do a lot of engineering on race cars and fuel tanks and things like that. And building the Metro, it's a mad car, isn't it, really? From the 1980s, they were banned from rallying and things. And you just look at it and you think, I need one of those. So I decided I would build one.
From a basic Metro shell, I mean, it sounds quite easy, but what was the most difficult part of the job? Because you start with a front-engine Metro, making a mid-engined race car. I mean, was everything difficult, or did it actually turn out to be less hard than you thought it would be?
You have to do a little bit of planning before. You can't just start with the angle grinder and cutting a car up to make something like that. But it's not hard. If you're into that way of thinking and engineering and thinking ahead as well, that's the key to a project like that. You can't cut something off and then a week later decide, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. It's planning, isn't it? And if you plan and you think and that's the way you think, it's not so hard.
And it's obviously only got a sad little 2.5 litre. It's a 2.5 litre engine, but 3 litre engine from 4. But I believe you've got some plans for that to get a few more horsepower.
Yeah, it's when I finish this meeting, it's going to get a turbo in it and rebuild the engine and things. So yeah, it'll be more exciting then.
And what are you aiming for? 400, 450 horsepower?
450, 500. That should make it entertaining, whereas it's less than a tonne.
Should be good. It was at Sandipod. Masami, you kind of stopped racing in World Championships, I think, about 2006. But from following you on Facebook, you seem to do a lot of TV appearances. You're on Japanese TV. What are you doing for Japanese TV the whole time? What programs are you on?
Mostly variety.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a very, very special one.
Mm-hmm. And what do they ask you to do?
Like feed drive, racing with real car, or many super big jump. Not a standard race.
And did you beat the real car?
Yes.
Excellent. That's good to know. And you've also you've moved into the organisation side with FEMCA, and you're here obviously. Was that something you always wanted to do, or did it just happen?
I like to do that because I know what is drivers thinking. Mm-hmm. So when I organize, I know everything. So it's easy for me.
And when you're refereeing, do you find it easy to penalise the drivers? Do you think, oh, he didn't mean that? And do you think you're a severe referee, or do you think you're quite a nice referee?
Both. Referee is so difficult.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Is it harder than driving?
Drive easy.
Well, as 14-wide champion would say, now you've done that refereeing and organising and racing. I mean, is refereeing the hardest thing to do?
It's not so difficult. Once you've driven at the top level, it's quite easy to see the difference between a mistake and somebody trying to be clever and taking somebody out. You can see it.
So you don't need to see our replays like everyone else seems to these days.
If I see the incident from start to finish, I will make my mind up quite quickly.
Hessel, have you ever been refereed badly by Ian? I actually have never been refereed by Ian, though. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. No.
You obviously were one of these guys who started off by racing with your dad. Your dad still come. How important is that kind of father-son thing for the racing?
Yeah, it's very important. Without my dad, this wasn't even possible. We started since I was 13. I'm 41 now, so you can do the math. I started in 110 electric off-road. And ever since we've been together, he also helps in my company. So during the week we're also like 40 hours together. So yeah, I think a good relationship is very, very important.
And kind of reverse that, Markus, because you're bringing your young lad with you to a lot of these races. Your son, how old is he now?
5 years now.
So when does he get to drive? When do you retire and he gets the car?
He already started.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but now I don't push him to go to the track just when you ask and he wants, because I think the biggest mistake you can do is to push your son to do something. So if he asks, we go. If he's not interested, we don't go.
Now, I know you from large scale. Did you actually drive the other scales beforehand, or did you just start as a large scale driver?
No, I started in 1985 with 1.8 off-road.
Okay.
And I've won a couple of titles there, and then I did 10 years, 8 scale on-road, and in between off-road, and in 1995 I started with large scale.
95, that's for large scale even existed, I thought. I didn't know that.
The second year there was one open European Championship in 1995, and my first European Championship was 1996, but that was by mistake because there was one driver for Laro, a French company, and he shortly before the Euros he quit, and so the guy who was distributing Laro in Germany asked me if I want to jump in, and I said yeah, it's fine, and I finished second. So from that point I enjoyed.
And the rest, they say, is history. Masami, have you ever driven these large-scale cars?
Never.
Never. Did you not sit there up on the thing? Oh, I'd like to have a go. See if I could win a world championship at this.
Just I want to drive it.
Yeah. Because Ian, I actually remember reading about when I started in 1981. And I remember reading about you in the magazines. I think you were doing 8th off-road, and you were always in the magazine second. I don't know. I always think that you came second or third. Probably you won everything. I just always think you came second or third in the magazine reports. So how did you find your way to large scale?
Basically, I started in 1/10 off-road, probably in 1980, 81. Started doing European Championships, as I said. I did the World Championships in 1987 in Romsey. But there was batteries and motors and who could get the best ones and things. And in the early 90s, I switched to 1/8 off-road. Doing the BRCAs, doing European things as well and Worlds. I won the BRCA Championship 3 times in 1/8, but never really did so well in the Worlds and the Euros. And then I saw large scale and I thought, yes, this is for me.
Is it the same reason that I like large scale? Because you can actually use a real hammer. I'm very. I mean, it's the size of the tools really. I'm into. I mean, I think it's like you can hit things. You can.
It looks like it, but it's actually not, because we actually use quite a lot of the same tools on a 110 car. Only we have like an Allen key 3, that's and a 4 maybe. So it looks like we are all like farmers with big hammers and big wrenches, but it's quite sophisticated.
It's the engineering.
Yeah. It's the engineering I like. I mean, obviously, as you know, I do a lot of work in full size racing, and I work in the pits. And we always say this, that you can fix any car. You need 4 things to fix any car. You need tie wraps. You need duct tape, you need what we call a 4-pound lump hammer, and these days you also need an iPhone torch. And even in Le Mans, on a 24-hour race, you'll see a fully professional mechanic with a lump hammer, tie wrap, and everything else. I mean, do you think that would be a good toolkit for a large-scale driver?
I think not nowadays. This is, the problem is that a lot of people think large scale is just relaxing and for old people, but it came so special, and it splitted so much from the original low speed, easy to drive cars. And I've seen a lot of really good drivers from other categories trying here and fail. So I think this is one special category.
It's certainly special to look at. I mean, the difference is obviously compared to all the other RC categories, you can see these cars handle much more like a real vehicle does, because you're carrying the momentum, and it's actually, because they've been struggling around here, it's been quite interesting to watch the qualifying, because you can see where things are going wrong and going right. Masami, I think just to go back on a question we asked earlier, obviously you started your career working very closely with your father as your mechanic. How important was that to you and your enjoyment of the sport?
We had a very good time. So he was mechanic, I was driver. So it's very good, communication with our family. So it was very good.
And what was it like when you started to have to do all the work yourself, when you didn't have a mechanic? Was that difficult, or did you find it easy to be your mechanic as well?
If he mechanic?
No, when you had to mechanic, when your dad stopped being with you, was it easy to become the mechanic?
After that?
Yeah.
I cannot race. After that, I have many friends, because I asked everything. Please make shocks, please make suspension. I only make tires.
Well, the tyres are the most important thing of any race car. That is true. I mean, it's interesting because we're talking. I'm going to throw a bit of an open question into this one, which someone has asked. And I'm going to ask Ian this one because it's come up a number of times. We're at the large-scale World Championship for track. Why is there no large-scale World Championship for off-road?
There is, in a vague way. In the European Championship, we allow non-Europeans to enter. So in a way, it's a world championship, but it's not quite. The problem with off-road, it's even more specialised than touring cars. And there is less countries that actually do the off-road. Australia is probably the next largest one. And to spread it around the world, it wouldn't work at all in many countries. And that is why.
And Hessel, have you ever thought about doing the off-road side as well?
I did some races off-road, not European Championships, but some national races and some indoor races. I did quite a few.
But you just stuck on the flat stuff?
Yeah, well, well, like I said, I started in 110 off-road, so I have a lot of experience in that, but still I like the flat stuff much more.
And Markus, never been tempted to take one of these big things over some bumps?
I did. I did when I was racing with FG. Franz also asked me to do some races in off-road, but I never liked that. This is if you used to 1.8 off-road and jump into the 5th scale or 6th scale off-road, this is completely two worlds. And especially in that time when it still was in the beginning, I didn't like that.
Masami, of course, you've won World Championships on the jumps and World Championships on the flat. Which do you prefer?
Both. 50-50.
Yeah, seems fair enough. When we're sitting here in the sun in Portugal, I'm going to ask a question. Obviously, large scale is a sport. We've got 85 engines. What could be done to make large scale grow? And what do you think is the one thing to make the large scale? Because everyone who comes here seems to have a good time, and it's great to watch, but it's still more niche than some of the other classes.
I think a lot of it's PR in individual countries. I don't think you can get the numbers up but at a single event. It's promotion in the countries and club racing. And unfortunately, that's dying out. And it's not just in large scale. A lot of classes, the numbers are going down slightly. The competition is in the modern day is Xboxes and PlayStations. And that's what you're against. In the 1980s, none of that existed. If people wanted to go out and have fun, RC racing was a good avenue. There are so many other hobbies now that are detracting or diverting people's attention from RC.
I agree, I totally agree, because we also make our mind in Germany about the problem in all categories, and you see all the young people between 8-9 years old up to 18-20. It's so easy to just stay at home after school, switch on the television and play the PlayStation or Xbox, and especially you can earn a lot of money if you are good. This is attracting more people than RC racing, especially nowadays.
Because one of the things that you do learn by actually taking part in races, you learn basic engineering skills, don't you? Which obviously translate into potential real jobs. You know, very few people can win the money on the esports.
No, it's true, but you need to set up a car. You have to have some mechanical experience, I think. So, yeah.
And is it the same in Japan, Masami?
Yeah. I'm thinking very important to show RC race. So it depends on your side.
It's your fault.
It's all down to me. I see. Oh, fine. Well, obviously, if IFMAR would pay us. Anyway, so oh, that's coming. Just one more question. Obviously, one thing is happening next year in Japan is the first ever World Drifting Championship. I mean, is drifting really big in Japan?
I think biggest.
Yeah.
Yes.
And why do you think the Japanese like drifting? Is it because of the Fast and the Furious culture? I don't know.
It's from a real car.
Yeah.
Real car drifting, very, very popular in Japan.
And you know, and it's interesting. Is that what we need to do? We need to try and get more crossover. Do you think we should start looking at European drifting championships and that sort of thing, Ian?
Maybe. I mean, drifting in full size is also quite popular in the UK now. So maybe we need to move with the times. I don't know.
Large-scale drifting.
Well, we've seen quite a bit of that actually, but that's just cars which are handling very, very badly. What I'd say is, just going back to this event and the World Championship. I mean, you two guys are competing. What would it actually mean to you personally to win another World Championship here this weekend?
Oh, a lot. I'm 40 years old now, so.
Positive youngster compared to the rest of us.
But time is running also for me, and especially here, it would be nice to win. It's now everything is running into the good direction, but we see.
Hessel, if you can pull off a win here, I'm pretty certain it'll be the longest gap between two world championships at 16 years. You feeling like that might happen?
I don't know. It's still open though, because the final is 1 hour, and if I win, I would be drunk for a week, I think.
Seems about fine. And fine, Masami, obviously, the word legend is thrown around too much, but obviously you are a legend of the sport. Do you miss the competition? Would you like to come? Do you feel you'd like to come back and race even at the level you can do at the age you are? Do you want to race again?
Yeah, senior race.
Yeah. we have an over 50s world championship, shouldn't we?
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a
European, yeah.
but maybe it should be over 50.
Yeah.
I think over 50 would be good. And then I can have a chance.
Yeah, me too. I could follow you home. We're both. Okay, well, thank you very much. We've got to clear the track and clear the air in the breakfast condiments. I'd like to thank Markus Feldman, Masami Hirosaka, Hessel Roskam, and Ian Oddie for joining us in Breakfast of Champions, episode 2, here in Portugal. And there'll be more later in the year somewhere. Thank you very much.